Hearts run right to the end. People come on, you don't need to be scared. Cause you're gonna love again.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to season 9 of the Haider Rifaat Show, season 9 specials. I'm your host Haider Rifaat, and today I'm absolutely honored to be joined by Pakistan's fashion legend Maheen Khan. I would call her one of the pillars of Pakistan's fashion industry actually, because she has made some significant contributions to the fashion world and she's still holding her own with her timeless labels such as Maheen and Gulabo. At 80 years old, she's still standing strong. Can you believe it? Her designs have also been featured in Hollywood films such as Phantom of the Opera and Cinderella, among others, and her dresses have been worn by many dignitaries from around the world, including by our very own, the late Benazir Bhutto, Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, Jemima Goldsmith, and Princess Sarwat Al Hassan, among others. Please welcome to my show, Maheen Khan. Maheen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Heather. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so
We're
much. It's such
finally,
an
we're finally doing it.
Yes, and I'm so honored. Thank you so much for gracing my show with your presence. First of all, before I move on to the specifics of what I'm going to ask you, what was your initial ambition as a young girl before stepping into the fashion world? Because I know that now that you're considered like this icon in Pakistan's fashion world and also internationally. But when you look back at that young Maheen, what was her ambition as a youngster growing up?
Heather, the whole idea which actually struck me after I got married, I must have been 19 or 20, when I realized that there was no fashion in Pakistan. Women simply wore shalwar kameez. It would be a round neck or a V-neck or a square neck. I'm talking about me as a Karachi girl living in Lahore. And that's what I saw. Karachi, on the other hand, did have fashion, but it was only isolated to saris.
Hmm.
It was a very sari time, 60s. And I realized that there was no fashion. There was no fashion for the day except for shalwar kameez, and there were lawns in heavily starched.
Hmm.
Um, and women would invariably wear fresh lawn every morning and sleep in it at night. So for me, I was awestruck by the fact that it was a glorified pajama suit. So I thought, and I really wanted to change how women perceive themselves. And also, more and more women were traveling. There was, and women would make special wardrobes just to travel.
Hmm.
And I thought, why can't we have a wardrobe that we can wear in Pakistan and travel in and be proud of it?
Yeah.
So my first collection was a very small collection of capri pants, uh, Western shirts, but long, and the dupatta was for me not an important part of the ensemble, and it was an option. And I remember, even though I say so myself, it kind of took the nation by storm. And I was sold out. That encouraged me a lot. And so I've stuck to that. Um, and I still do a very east west
Hmm.
fusion kind of look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it. That was change. I felt change is very important in your life.
Definitely. And what age did you start?
Mm. So when I started, I was 26.
Still young. Still young.
very young, uh, very naive,
Yeah.
full of dreams. But I stuck to it. I've had, I can't say it's been smooth sailing. It has not.
Yeah. I think
I've
there's very
struggled a lot.
few. Yeah, there are very few people who are able to make their dreams come to life, and you're one of the lucky few. So I'm really glad that you stuck to it. I wanted to also ask you, how important has the role of your parents and your family been in helping you pursue your goals? And do you credit them for where you are right now?
Yes, because we are four sisters.
Mm-hmm.
We were brought up in a very liberal way, but not liberal as in total freedom. There were rules and regulations in the house. But we were, I mean, if we had, there was no question of having friends or only girls. It was girls or boys, as long as they came over, there was a, there was a total trust between us and our parents. And I think, I think I was always a kind of a stubborn, stubborn, willful daughter. I think I gave my parents a lot of trouble, but my mother in particular encouraged me, stuck by me, and she was always very proud of me.
Excellent. Yeah. I think, whenever you have your mother by your side, it just hits different.
Because today, as we talk in the year 2025, fashion is no more individual. Uh, it's not about you, it's about what is dictated to you.
Hmm.
Uh, with the onset of a huge middle class, people who travel a lot, plus the huge amount of so called fashion designers, we will come to that later, who bring out these collections, and influencers, wannabe journalists, fashion journalists, wannabe again, just publish paid content.
Hmm.
There's nothing on social media that is true anymore. You're being made a fool of. You're being told this is the perfect outfit. This is in fashion.
Hmm.
And women are falling for it. So the result is, I don't know if you're interested in fashion. I'm sure you are, Heather. If you look at Pakistan as a whole right now, at the fashion industry, you will notice that there is no fashion left.
Hmm.
It is the age of the textile designer. It is not the age of a fashion designer. This era is about textile designing, is about prints and prints and prints. And now this print top and pants, what they call what's the name? I think it's called the duo. It's, have you seen these? It's like wearing pajama suits. Printed pajama and a printed short square boxy kurta. And I'm going to say this very openly. And I hope that fashion designers listen. They're not designing. Rampant commercialism has set in.
Hmm.
Okay, I understand that. I understand that everybody wants to make some money. And my my question is, why can't you do at least 25% of fashion? Okay, 75% can feed your pocket, but other 25 should feed your soul.
Yeah.
And it shows something to the woman in Pakistan. People are traveling. People are, what are they doing? We are back to 1960, 19, when I started, 1972. We are back there. Women are making special wardrobes just to travel. Isn't that interesting? We've made a full circle. We've come back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So, on the bottom line is there is no fashion left.
Exactly. And I know that you've mentioned it many times how it's the death of fashion, especially in Pakistan. You mentioned it many times. And I, based on it's very interesting you're mentioning this in relation to fashion because as an entertainment journalist, when I've interviewed many producers of films, but even celebrities and everybody, I've come to realize how even our entertainment industry at large, when you look at entertainment in terms of movies and TV and so on and so forth, has become heavily commercialized. And that comes at the cost of compromising storylines. And it's interesting that you're mentioning how something similar is happening in the fashion industry, and that comes at the cost of compromising your fashion ethic. And I think it's incredibly alarming and it sets a very, I wouldn't say a dangerous precedent, but what are we doing? You know, it begs that question. So I'm glad that you mentioned this, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
yeah,
sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
but
go ahead, please.
actually, they're making a fool of the average Pakistani woman. Um, I'm sorry, but I'm going to put the blame squarely on journalists. I know you're one, so I apologize, and influencers and social media. This this tendency to call every person who has tailors and churns out garments becomes a fashion designer.
Mm.
That's not possible. You can't do that. And that's one of the reasons it's been watered down. I mean, my contention is every man who builds a house is not an architect. Why is every person who makes clothes a fashion designer? And why do journalists and social media again and again call them fashion designers?
I think
They
it's
are textile designers.
Yeah, I think it's the ignorance and it's the lack of knowledge too. It's
No,
very, really,
sorry.
really.
No,
Do you think it's money talking?
it's arrogance.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
we're very good at that.
yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the way the landscape of the fashion industry, the way it has turned out in Pakistan, and not just this year, but over the years. I interviewed you for Paris magazine, Arabian Moda magazine, and that interview was pretty much read by the Pakistani mainstream media as well. I think Something Hot picked it up, Express Tribune picked it up, and you mentioned something that really struck a chord with me and also those publications who picked it up, where you said that Pakistan lacks a consumer base of women who understand fashion. And I want you to kind of like elaborate on that a little bit. And because it was interesting to me, do you still feel that Pakistani women at large do not understand what fashion is? Because obviously, Pakistani women, when you look at average Pakistani women, they're not belonging to that elite bracket. They're not those women. But the
Um,
people we're designing for is obviously everybody, right? But what are your thoughts on this?
Firstly, Heather, the word elite is, I think, should not be used because fashion is for everybody.
Yes.
Secondly, in the midst of all this doom and gloom, there is hope because there is, I notice,
Hmm.
a albeit very small, but there is this emergence of women who want to buy into not just fashion, but they now, I noticed this year, they are happy to buy into slow fashion because that's what a good fashion designer is all about. You produce beautiful pieces in beautiful fabric that you can hand down to your daughter and granddaughter.
Hmm.
That's how fashion started in the West, in particular. If you had a Chanel outfit or a Valentino outfit, you didn't just chuck it,
Yeah.
right? It was something precious, and that's slow fashion, and it's sustainable. What's happening now? It's not sustainable. You're producing so much garbage in the landfills because women tend to buy six, seven, eight, nine, 10 and wear it a few times and then chuck it. But there is a change. And I'm very happy to say there is a change, and there's a change in women who live abroad, who, seen a different fashion philosophy that's going on there. And also women in, no, I can speak for Karachi, but I really don't know Lahore that well. So, but in Karachi, yes, I see that too. So there is hope, and there's always hope. Uh, but if these big guns decide, I mean, they realize that the huge conglomerates that produce clothes, they realize what they're doing. It's not responsible fashion at all.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And fast fashion has also become very, I mean, people have been saying like there's so many garments that are made and it's kind of like sold as fast fashion, but it's also considered sustainable. So sometimes it also makes me doubt like where is that coming from, you know? Maheen, I also want to ask you something about you mentioning, not using the word elite. But
Yeah.
sometimes I also feel, do you think an average Pakistani woman can afford labels such as XXX?
But dear Heather, fashion was never for the average person. Not here, not anywhere in the world. Which is why you have a diffusion line.
Hmm.
But fashion was never meant that way. It was always for people who could afford it. So where are we coming from? I'm not talking
Hmm.
about those who can't afford it. Either copy, which is fine, or there's a diffusion line, which is why I have Gulabo. I do the same things in Gulabo, but it's much cheaper.
Yeah,
In fact, it's
that's
very cheap.
fair. Yeah.
So every fashion designer, Armani has his diffusion line. Everybody has a diffusion line.
Hmm.
What is Zara? Do you know what Zara is all about?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a diffusion line of every designer.
True. True. Yeah.
So that's how it takes place. And the fashion industry is like that. But here, there's that fashion designer, and then there's no in between.
Hmm.
And then there's a commercial entity that's churning out what I call pajama suits.
Hmm.
Oh, it's full of embroidery. Now, you see, embroidery and print are not the job of a fashion designer. Never has been. It is the speciality and job of a textile designer.
Yeah.
Very simple. You take the average outfit of any fashion designer, or most fashion in Pakistan, and with your mind's eye, you strip all the embellishment. What you have left.
Hmm. Hmm.
But having said that, we have some great designers emerging right now.
True.
I mean, also the likes of um, a lot of designers, and I shouldn't really name them. There's some excellent designers who are still doing great work. But I do understand that those who are doing good work, it's at a cost to
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. And
This
that
is
that cost is that cost is actually huge. It's not something that you can just let it slide, you know? Um, yeah, you've
But you have a passion. I mean, without that passion, like you're a writer and a journalist and a communication, but
yeah.
whatever you do in your life, that passion should drive you
Hmm,
first.
definitely, Definitely. Passion is everything. I mean, if you don't have passion, then I think you're probably not in the right field, or maybe you don't realize your potential in terms of what
No,
you really want to do, as an
there were
individual.
robots in the 90s, 80s and 90s. Uh, we saw some phenomenal models. And a good model is not necessarily a beautiful woman. She just has this air of elegance, body language, which is her.
Yeah.
It's that personality that shines through, and that, I mean, there's people like Alia Iqbal, Alia Zaidi, um, Free Altaf was one of the most fabulous models. Um, Atia Khan, Iraj, these are icons of the Pakistan fashion industry because they had a natural body language. Now, today, there are much more. There are many more models because
Mm.
it's now become an acceptable way to earn your living.
Hmm.
But you have to teach them.
Of
There's
course.
a real difference. Now those girls didn't need to be taught how to
Hmm.
look into themselves, but now you have to. Um, Among the stars, I would say Sanam. Look, my brain's fried. Sanam Mahmood. What's wrong with me? You know Sanam, the actress.
Sanam Said?
Sanam Said. God, she'd kill me. It's
It's
pronounced.
okay. It's okay.
He has a great presence.
Hmm.
It's the presence that matters.
Yeah.
Mahira has a great presence.
Hmm.
It's a very natural body language.
Yeah.
Uh, and that actually brings me to the very important question. I mean, leave everything aside, whether it's fashion, whether it's modeling, but whatever you do, confidence is
Yeah.
a very key role.
It does. Does.
Um, so those getting better, but most of the time that is a little problem.
Hmm.
But hey, listen, if we're talking about the fashion industry being stagnant, I mean, I was looking at this um, Pakistan Air Force aircraft painted like a falcon. Did you see it?
I have not. I have not.
And they won the first prize at the Air Tattoo Show in England.
Oh, wow.
And I thought even the Air Force is emerging and looking ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And
For
we
me,
we feel stuck.
that too is fashion. It's moving ahead.
Yeah.
You have to have a look at it. Pakistan won two prizes. I mean, so
That's
these moments, they're moments when, art and fashion and everything just is all interconnected.
yeah, it is. It
Writing, these
is.
are all forms of self expression.
We are definitely hoping for some positive changes to take place, and I think it can only start with individuals. It cannot start with, a savior, if I'm honest.
They
Yes.
need a bolt of lightning somewhere.
Yes, maybe more experienced fashion designers like yourself or like whoever is working currently in the fashion industry can be that support system and be that guiding light. But it really depends whether they're also listening to you or not, you know?
It's very
So
difficult.
it's very difficult, to condense all the decades of experience that you've accumulated and instill that in people who don't understand fashion.
But on the other hand, I'll tell you a lovely story.
Hmm.
Last week, I was at the Khan hospital for the
Hmm.
checkup. I went in and I had an attendant with me to hold. I had a lot of files and x rays and things. when I came out, he said to me, there was a young girl sitting next to me with her mother in a wheelchair, and he said to me, "This lady has left this for you." It was a letter. It was a letter telling me, "Dear ma'am, we as Pakistanis are so proud of you. You something about fashion, and you've done it, And
I read
and
that.
may God bless you." And I thought to myself, she was not a fashionable girl.
Hmm.
She understood it.
Yeah.
So what we are talking about the population not understanding fashion is not true.
Hmm.
They do, but it is safe to conform.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So if you live in an environment where the sister and the friend are all wearing a type of thing, it's safer
Hmm.
because they don't want to stand out. And it brings you back to the confidence conversation.
Yes. Yes. No, I read that. I read that letter. I think you posted it as well, if I'm not wrong, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Um,
It was a really a lovely moment for me, and
of course.
it makes you feel.
You should give yourself credit, where it's due. You're
No,
definitely,
yeah. Also, you feel okay. So this is kind of feel it's all been worth it.
of course.
And
I think you've paved a way for many people, and you might
I
not
hope so.
realize the impact that it's having now.
Mm.
But I think these small messages, notes are a reminder of your extended legacy that you're
I
continuing.
hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I know that the young, like your age group
Hmm.
who just qualified and doing their masters, and a lot of them contact me. Who studied in England and Canada and into fashion school, and they come back here looking for jobs, and they just can't find jobs that where they can express themselves, and there's a lot of frustration.
There is.
But there is, and so there's this whole group that if if given the chance, I think they would change the entire scenario of what's happening. They will, and I have a lot of hope for the future.
It's always good to be hopeful, but you also have to realize the systemic nature of how things are working. And it's just really hard to break away from that, especially when they are in positions of power. People who do not want the system to change, bureaucracy. There's so much. And that's why I think it compromises your creative freedom, your creative expression. You have to conform to their rules, unfortunately. And I think arts is the only field where you feel like you can express yourself freely. You don't have to have limitations on yourself. And to suddenly also be, you know, to be slaves of commercialization, to be slaves of like these bureaucracies, to be slaves of these like entire these rigid norms that have become so hard for creative individuals to, break away from. I think that's really a tragic thing, that we're seeing in today's world. And it's not just in Pakistan. I see it everywhere in different forms. In
Really?
different forms. Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a message for all you, everybody who's starting life now and studying and in college or stepping out looking for a job. And I say this to my grandson, who's very much feels like you. And you know, the world will always restrict you in many ways or not give you the opportunity you want, whatever you feel. But the important thing is to create your own space,
Hmm.
do your own thing, and you will be surprised You will get the opportunity. You create your own space, do what you want to do. And, like I said earlier, you do some commercial things and you do, because you got to give in to the world as it is today. I mean,
Yeah,
you
of
can't
course.
expect the world to change, okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's important. Whatever you do, you can get a job that maybe just doesn't inspire you, but okay, do it. But then, spare time, create your space,
Yeah. Like
right?
I've created this for myself, you know. I knew
Yeah,
that no opportunity was I don't think opportunities weren't coming my way. It was also like I was very young. I was 21 when I started my show, and I'm now 30 years old. So I feel like this whole 9 years that I've spent doing this show has this has been my brainchild. For me, this has been my creative outlet, you know. I
there
think
you are.
yeah, and I feel like when nobody gives you an opportunity, I always say this, create your own because it's
Yes,
never too
sir.
late. It's never too
Mhm.
late, and especially when you have that's the good use of social media. Use social media as that positive vehicle which you can use to your advantage. And I've done that and I'm really happy, but people unfortunately are also not skilled or maybe they're not even skilled. I would say they don't have that um well, yes, you can say skills because I do entire production of my show, editing of my show, everything on my own. So I feel like I have those skills, but many people don't really know how to utilize social media to their advantage. I
No,
think that's,
I don't.
it's really hard for them to tap into it. But I think the conversations are changing, the way people are using social media is changing. So I hope, like you said, there is some glimmer of hope that I do see in terms of even our entertainment industry changing for the better. Because trust me, there's such a big disconnect between what producers say and what the audience actually wants in terms of
Yes,
what they see on screen. They
yes.
don't want to see those rom-com comedies and stuff like that. They want to see like subjects that are really important and are really kind of like integral to our society, deep-rooted issues that you need to talk about and address. And that is what the medium of film and television stands for. But unfortunately, because those kind of stories do not sell, I believe then producers have to also compromise on it. So I don't even blame the producers for it. I also blame the viewers for tuning into those stories. But then again, if that's the only content they have, then where do you go, you know? But anyway,
No, no,
I went on a
no, Heather. No,
yes.
no, I'm glad you did because look, I don't think the viewers want that content. Look, if you don't show them something, how do they know about it? Why did you show it in
Exactly.
the first place? And why are you picking the worst aspects of a society to portray it on live on television or on media? Why? And there is an outcry about it now. There is. People are coming out to say what's going on.
And this is
There
actually
is.
I don't normally say these kind of things on my
No,
show,
but you're right.
but because
You're
I'm
right.
having yeah, but because I'm having this conversation with you, I love Myra Khan. I've interviewed her for my show. I know her. But I really feel like there's a time for everything, and I think her time is kind of like coming to an end. Even Humayun Said, even the film that they recently did together, they need to make room for new artists. Our industry needs to evolve. You can't have your name up there on every single mainstream Pakistani film all the time. I'm sorry, but it's going to just, people are noticing. Trust me, people are noticing on social
Really?
media. Yes, they
But
don't
I
want to
haven't
see
seen.
they don't want to see those actors again and again in
Really?
those pivotal roles. No. They
But
want
what
they
if the
want
story is about an older couple? Then what?
that's different. I mean, when you have stories that are maybe meant for those kind of actors, then it's fine. But having Humayun Saeed and Myra play these characters who are in their mid 20s or 30s, I'm sorry, it's not going to fly.
No, it's true. I haven't seen these, and I really
I
stay
haven't
away
seen it
from them.
either, but it's just it's I think the main problem lies in bureaucracy and the kind of and who's running the show. and whoever's running the show needs to retire.
Bureaucracy. No, Heather. It's not bureaucracy. Seriously, it's not. No one dictates to them. It's their mindset. Where you can make more money, now put that on. People will get ads on it and will get money. Nothing to do with bureaucracy, I promise you.
But I know that based on my conversations with many film producers, I've come to realize this, that they choose actors based on their social media following.
No, okay, I accept that.
And I think that's doing a disservice to
Yeah,
acting.
yeah.
That you would, that's your criteria for so when you, if somebody, that's, then again, it's a power dynamic. If you have
Mm.
somebody who has a stronger social media following and somebody who is not that talented versus somebody who has only 100 followers and is incredibly talented, who will wind up getting the role? So, it's really unfortunate. Unfortunately, because I'm also an actor, I've lived through it, but
Why
not
you?
personally. Yes, I've acted in Hum Television, I've worked with PTV, I've also worked with Express, then I moved here. So I kind of like stopped doing it. And acting is my first passion. I love it so much. But
Seriously.
yeah, I haven't really experienced what I'm sharing with you, but I notice. And I think it's very good to also sometimes not talk and just take a back seat and observe. And it's very important to, and based on conversations also with producers, even TV producers, film producers, I have come to realize that this is the criteria for selection of actors, and it's not doing our industry well.
I
You
think
know,
social media should be abolished. I think it's done more harm. And I know we're digressing, but they are so toxic.
I know.
Nothing, and all the followers are bought.
Or bot. I
What
was also going to mention that.
learn about it,
It is
Heather?
so
That's
ridiculous.
the real world.
It is so ridiculous. It is
It
so
is.
ridiculous. I can't. It is just too much. But Maheen, I'm glad we digressed because I only have two questions left for you. Very
Okay.
briefly, I wanted to also ask you, I know you mentioned how much your parents have supported you, especially your mom, but who else do you credit most for your success?
Well, look, I've had, okay, support wise, as my children grew up, they supported me and they still support me. My husband supports me. But in the end, Heather, I can only, I don't want to put it badly, a human being is, or can only credit him or herself
Hmm. I know what you're
for
saying.
what they've achieved because the fight was mine. The
Yeah.
struggle was mine. The tears were mine. The joy was mine.
Hmm.
So, in the end, only you are responsible.
Yeah.
If you don't have support, even then you'll do it. If you want to do it, it's the drive, the push, the passion,
Hmm. I
and,
agree with
and the ability to fall down. I tell my children, one of the first things I told them, I said, you will fall through life. You will bruise your knees. But remember to get up,
you. Hmm.
brush your knees,
Hmm.
move forward, because nobody is going to help you. And that's the story of life. Your
Hmm.
parents might love you, your friends might love you, they're not going to be there with you all the time.
Hmm.
In the end, you're alone.
You're absolutely right about that. And my other questions, it's interesting you mentioned this because it ties to this. Um, what personal struggle did you have to go through in life in order to become who you are now?
I I've had financial um, mountains to climb
Hmm.
because you can imagine if I do what I did, it was not a money churning. When you
Business.
follow your dream, you got to leave money aside.
Hmm.
And so it was a great lesson to me because along the way, I become somebody who has very few needs. I am not after designer bags or jewelry, travel, though I have traveled a lot, but my wealth was my designing. The fact that I can go every morning to work and create something is my wealth. And I would not change it for anything. I don't want a fancy car. I don't want jewelry. I don't want any of that stuff.
Hmm.
So I think you have to question yourself. What is it you want out of life?
Yeah.
So, I always say you will get what you want. Remember this, Heather. I always say be careful what you pray for because you will get it.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, but when you're praying for things that you really want, you don't get them. If I'm honest with you.
No, no, no. You just wait. I have firm believer. You won't get it now. You get it when it's right. The time is right.
Yeah, yeah. Time is definitely, you know,
Thing is, have faith in yourself.
yeah,
Have faith in yourself, and because in the end of the day, what is life is a battle,
it
a
is.
fight.
Maheen, you have left this and you're still continuing and you're building, continuing to build on your legacy as a fashion designer. And, when I Googled who is kind of like the founder of Pakistan's fashion industry, there were a few names that popped up, but you were the second one that also happened to be there. And it was that moment itself was so pleasing to me because I felt like, wow, here I am interviewing somebody who is so not just iconic in fashion, but also somebody who's very approachable. You don't come across as somebody who's very like arrogant or takes pride in like, I'm this person and I'm not going to give my time to this person. People have that kind of an attitude. I've seen that, but you're not like that. So thank you for doing that, actually, for being that kind of a person. And also, my question to you was, how do you wish people to remember Maheen Khan?
Never thought of that. I don't know. I always felt when I'm gone, I'm gone. The book is closed.
Hmm.
I mean, I've never thought about it. But if I do, I would hope that somehow they would have learned something from my life and my struggle and my highs and my lows.
Yeah.
And I hope, I mean, I hope that I give somebody along the way the the hope actually that I give them hope that they can do it too. I started with no money. I've traveled in rickshaws and I've struggled a lot, and I'm very proud of that. So I would hope that message would get through that you can do it too.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you want to do,
Yeah.
just do
For
it.
sure. For sure. Maheen, thank you so much for joining me. It was such an honor to have this conversation with you. That is all for now. Viewers, stay tuned for more on my official YouTube channel and Facebook page. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.